Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Bella Salon and Day Spa, located at 41 West Main Street in Northeast Pennsylvania, proudly supports Chautauqua Sunrise and its volunteers. More information at bellasalonanddayspa.net. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. From the Access Channel 5 studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Channel 5. Continuing the traditions of Senior Report, we are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week, countywide, from 9 to 10 a.m. Join us by calling in live, emailing us, or checking out our social media. And now, from the Channel 5 studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to winter, and Happy New Year! We made it, 2016. I hope you had a safe holiday, New Year's, and you got through Christmas fine. Many of you may be returning home from maybe down south or someplace warmer. But you know, it's been really a lot of fun this season. We've had good weather. We were just debating about whether we had snow at this time last year. I was wrong as usual, and my guest pointed out to me that the snow didn't happen until after Christmas, and I had to think about that for a bit, and I go, I guess you're right. Everything just kind of blurs in my mind. I just got too much going on in there, I guess. I don't know how your New Year's Eve was, but my wife and I, we went out to dinner with family, and we played some cards, got home about 9 o'clock, settled down in our PJs, and we're going to watch the ball. The dog was all nestled in by the fireplace, and we're watching TV, and when the dog barks, it's 12:07, missed everything. I go, well, I guess we're getting to the point where it's not quite as exciting as it used to be anyways. I don't know how many people I talked to that they said they slept right through the official start of the new year. But I remember as a kid that was always a big deal. My kids, when they were little, they'd always say, can we stay up till midnight? And I go, absolutely. In fact, you can stay up all night if you want. My wife would say, what are you doing? And I say, trust me on this. By 9:30, they were sound asleep. I was a hero. They loved it, and I didn't get in any trouble. But it was always a fun time. Well, the snow's here. Kind of typical, really. It's nothing really out of the ordinary. This is your first winter with us. Enjoy it. There's lots of things going on in Chautauqua County. I can't go through the whole list because it's just so long, but there's something to do for everybody. Anywhere from Randy goes out on these horse rides, or what do you call that? Sleigh rides at the institution. There's snowmobiling eventually, and skiing, and I don't know if we're going to do much ice skating yet, but but there's lots of fun things going on all over the county. So don't let the snow get in your way. As always, my main complaint about winter is very simple. It's the people that don't clean off their windshields, and they scare the heck out of me. They're driving down the road with a porthole, and they're just driving like this. And it's like, you can't see me. And so be safe out there and take your time. allow a little extra time, especially. Roads aren't bad this morning. This is Saturday morning, and for those of you that are going to watch me later on the week, or for the folks that listen to us on WRFA, low power to the people in Jamestown, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, hopefully the snow will be mostly melted by then. But anyways, Happy New Year. Snow's here. It's winter. Let's get on with it. Got a few things to share with you today, and then we'll get right into our program. So, first of all, if you have a question or a comment, you will have an announcement that you want to share. This is your community TV show. We encourage you to Twitter us, go to Facebook. You can call us old-fashioned way of 753-5225. We'll be happy to take you live, bring on the show voice-wise. You can be really shy and just tell the guys when they answer the phone what your question is or your comment. We're happy to write it up. They'll Twitter me or send me something on my iPad here. So things are going on in the county. Let's share it. It's no big deal, and it costs you nothing. Happy to do it, and so let us know. All right. Want to share with you that the Children's Safety Education Village in Asheville, I'm very, very pro safety for children and everybody else. We've got the cash calendar this year. It's just come out. Whoop, let's see how I angle this. I'm always backwards. And if you haven't ever had one of these, it's really a lot of fun. $20, and it's a calendar. It's a beautiful calendar. It's got lots of pictures of various things, and there's McDonald's and all kinds of different folks. I won't go through all of it, but lots of good things in here, and they give away. Friday is payday. There's $25 prizes that they give away, a drawing. There's a $100 prize once a month, and what you do is you pay your $20. Part of this comes off like a ticket. It goes into a big barrel, and Terry Kinberg and the staff, they draw names. They send you a check. It's as simple as that. You're supporting a phenomenal cause here in Chautauqua County. Over something like 12,000 kids have gone through the program now. I've run into children that are now teens and say, oh yeah, I went there when I was in 6th grade or 5th grade or whatever, and they still talk about it to this day. So anyways, Children's Safety Education Village, cash calendar, $20. Talk to anybody that is associated with it. If you want more information, you can call, let's see, the number 499-8138 and talk to Terry, and she'll get you a calendar. Okay? So that's going on. With what's going on with the security all over the world, we here at the station have a new system, and Chuck Kelsey is our station manager, director, guru, godfather, and he has spared no expense to make sure our station is secure here. So I want to bring on a photo that I received from Randy Burt, our cameraman. He was tasked with doing security this year. So could we get that photo up, please? Yep. Randy secured Ernie the cat. Ernie is about 500 pounds, and he prowls the station here when no one's around. Randy Burt tells me that it's better than a dog because the cat is quiet. Sneaks up on anybody and then sits on them, right? It's perfect, just what we need around the studio. So as I'm broadcasting at any point in time, and you see a cat walk by, especially a 500-pound white cat named Ernie, fear not, it's just our security cat. And I want you to know that I can't begin to tell you how much better I feel knowing that Ernie and Bert are on the job. I wrote that myself. All right, we're going to take a station break here. We're going to have a little public service announcement, and then we're going to get right into our show today. Stay tuned. I'm Doc Hamels. You're watching Chautauqua Sunrise.
Engines.
Check.
Thrusters.
Check.
Fuel.
Check.
Computers.
Check.
Social Security.
No check, go direct.
That's right, Patty. A few weeks ago, I went online to godirect.org to sign up for direct deposit. It's easy to do. And I got my cash at warp speed.
Wow, it's fast and easy. I'll sign up right now to make sure I'm prepared for our next mission.
Star Trek. I grew up on that. I loved that show. And, you know, working in TV and radio over the years, not professionally, but, you know, doing what we do here, it's really interesting to see these old sets, especially for the Star Wars and or the old Superman movies, and you see the plants being hung by a little piece of string, and we didn't know that at those days. It just seemed like magic. And watching the early Star Trek show is kind of interesting because they're sort of along the same lines. You can kind of get a feel for the set, and it's not quite as complicated as we first saw it. And then, wow, Star Wars, ba-boom, multi-bazillion-dollar movie. Why are we fascinated with outer space? I'm not sure, but good fun and lots of entertainment, and somebody's making a lot of money. All right, enough on Star Wars, Star Trek, Ernie the Cat. My guest today is Jeffrey Smith, the Executive Director of St. Susan Center. And I met Jeffrey at a Rotary meeting. His uncle, Dan, is a fellow Rotarian and had brought Jeffrey on as our guest speaker. And I was moved and intrigued by all the information that he had to share, and I felt and compelled that we should talk more about St. Susan Center and learn more details and share them with you, because there's just so much going on in this county, and I think after you hear what he has to say to you today, you're going to look at our county differently. So, Jeffrey, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Doc. Thank you for having me.
All
Happy
right.
New Year.
Happy New Year. All right. In a little while I'm going to get to my other announcements, but I kind of skipped ahead as usual. So I broke things up differently. So
Okay.
we're going to go about maybe 20 minutes, and then we're going to give you a little break, and I'll make some more announcements.
Okay.
I just got a note that I forgot the announcements for the rest of the show. Okay. So I do that once in a while. So St. Susan Center, Jeffrey Smith. Tell us about Jeffrey.
Tell us about Jeffrey. Well, I was born and raised here in Chautauqua County. I grew up in the town of Busta. I went to Southwestern, attended Jamestown Community College, and then I transferred to Mercyhurst College, got my degree in hotel restaurant management, went to work for the Marriott Hotel Corporation for a number of years, and recently, about a year and a half ago, I moved back to Chautauqua County when the position of executive director came open at the St. Susan Center. I applied for it and was awarded the job.
Where were you with Marriott?
I was in New York City, I was in Dallas.
my
They tend to
gosh.
move you around a lot. You know where they dropped the ball in Times Square?
Yeah.
I was right there. That was the
Wow.
Marriott. In fact, they used to, the cameramen on the front of the hotel, there's a restaurant on the front of the hotel, and they put a camera right on the outside. They open up one of the windows, it's about 10 or 12 stories up, and they shoot from there down into Times Square.
Wow, that must be really exciting.
So it was interesting.
Yeah. What do you think about all the security they had to put together this year? I bet that must be really difficult to
Yeah.
work your way through there and go to work on that day.
Yeah, it was a challenge.
But here you're in quiet Chautauqua County, and I hope you feel confident that Ernie the Cat has the station secured.
I tell you, I saw Ernie, and he's doing a great job, let me tell you.
Okay. I didn't know anything about Ernie till yesterday, and I guess you just brought him on, so thank you, Randy Burke.
It was one of those January 1.
Yeah, it just came. It was a new contract or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Cats are us or something. Anyways, so you're at St. Susan Center, and it's been around quite a while, I think about 30-some years. So could you give us a little history of the organization and your
sure.
mission and all that sort of thing? Let's kind of start there. How's that?
Okay. St. Susan Center came about back in the early 80s. But if you think back to 1984, Ronald Reagan was president.
Oh, yeah.
The Detroit Tigers were the kings of baseball. Al Gore was home inventing the internet.
That's right. That's right.
So life was a little simpler then. There was a group of local clergy in the Jamestown area that had this idea for a soup kitchen, but they didn't have any money to make that dream a reality. Then one winter day, these two sisters were traveling here on a skiing trip, and they got into a pretty bad car accident. Susan, the younger sister, was 14, and she was badly injured.
Mm-hmm.
And they took her to WCA, and she was in intensive care for months and months. While she was there, she met Father Attia of St. James, and Father Nick of the Greek Church. And they got to know the families, and throughout the time that Susan was in the hospital, the residents of Jamestown came out and supported the family, cooked for them, let them stay in their houses, did everything possible they could do to help Susan and her family in their time of need. Well, then after about 16 months, Susan passed away.
Oh my gosh.
But her parents were so impressed by the love and the care and the respect that they received from the community that they wanted to say thank you in some meaningful way to the Jamestown community. So Mr. and Mrs. Tornabenny wrote the first check to Father Attia and Father Nick and gave them the resources necessary to start the soup kitchen. And the soup kitchen was dedicated on February 1st, 1984 in the old St. James School, and it was appropriately named the St. Susan Center.
St. Susan Center, but not St. Susan's Soup Kitchen.
No,
There's a
St. Susan
difference.
Center.
Okay.
We are a soup kitchen, but we are called, our official title is the St. Susan Center.
Okay. They named the center after their daughter. Is this a religious organization?
We are a Christian organization, yes.
Oh, okay. Christian, but not any particular denomination?
It started as there was a group of local clergy from different denominations.
Right. Father Attia and
Father Attia and Father Nick led the campaign, but there was other local clergy involved as well.
So almost kind of ecumenical,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
broad-based.
Yes.
All right. So there is a
Community-minded.
religious tone to the
Absolutely.
organization, as opposed to, I don't know, XYZ organization that
Right.
puts together a community kitchen. So, all right. And so do you? Boy, I got so many questions today. So it started at St. James School and was there for a while.
22 years. In fact, they were
Wow.
a guest of the church until the property was sold, and then they moved over to Water Street into the Gateway Center, which is in the old Chautauqua Hardware.
So if I was going to Water Street and I'm coming off of, I don't know, let's take Route 60 down Main Street, how do I get there?
Come right down Route 60 into Brooklyn Square, take a left on Harrison Street,
Oh, okay.
take a right on Foote Avenue,
Okay,
go up Foote Avenue like you're heading towards the hospital, take a left on Water Street, and you're there.
there you go. So it's not very far.
If you can find the hospital, you can find us.
So it's near the hospital.
We're right next to the hospital.
Okay. We had Amy Roller on a while back, and you mentioned Gateway, and I know they're at Gateway, so how's that all work?
The Gateway Center is a wonderful building. There's a lot of different ministries in the building. The building's owned by Gary Lynn, and Gary's a wonderful individual, and he allows us to be there, and we are his guests.
Oh, wow. Are you connected with Helping Hands? Community Helping
We're
Hands?
both separate organizations. We do work together on different events throughout the year and different functions within the building, but we are totally separate organizations.
Okay. Jeffrey, you said you grew up in Busti, and you went to Southwestern School.
Southwestern, yeah.
Southwest, I don't think it's a secret. There's certain school districts that are, let's say, a little better heeled than some others. And Southwestern's one of those. I think that's a given. I mean, just knowing the economy of our county. You now work for an organization that is working with folks that aren't so well off. Does that surprise you when you return to the county to face that?
I tell you, when I came back, a lot of times I would come up in the summertime with my son, and we would visit my mother and family, and we'd spend time up on the lake and doing fun things. But when you start getting into some of the neighborhoods where the neighborhoods have fallen on hard times, I mean, you don't have to go any farther than Water Street, where the center's located. I remember that neighborhood growing up as a boy. My grandmother lived on Water Street.
Oh, wow. Interesting connection there.
And the Water Street was a little different then than it is now.
Okay. So a little bit of an eye-opener for you.
Sure, yeah.
And, I was looking at your I looked at your Facebook site, but your website last night. And the thing that I found interesting and I think a lot of the organizations are along the same lines. They don't talk about customers or patients or clients. Yours talks about guests. You said you're the guest of Gary Lynn, and the people that come to your facility, use your facility, are your guests. That's such a different feel to it, and a really nice feel. Where did that come from? Is that something that you came up with?
No,
or?
That's something that's been in effect since day one. Everyone who comes to the center is a guest of the center.
Can you tell us about your guests without naming names? And I mean, who are your guests?
Anybody who's hungry. We have no requirements. Anybody who's in the vicinity of 31 Water Street while we're open and serving is welcome to come in for a meal.
That they're hungry. Today it's January 2016. How is it possible in the United States today that people are hungry?
Well, statistically, about 49 million people in America are what we call hungry or food challenged, whatever term you want to use. And out of that, about over 8 million of those are children living in some of the most gut-wrenching poverty that you could ever see.
I'm sitting here, I'm just sort of like taking in what you're saying. I'm going, oh my gosh. How many people are we talking here in Chautauqua County that are your guests?
Well, I can tell you, here are a few statistics red hot out of the computer.
Okay.
In the month of December, the St. Susan Center served 10,985 meals.
What? 10,000 in December?
In December alone. 10,985 meals.
And when you say a meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner?
We serve lunch.
Lunch.
We serve lunch from 11 to 4, Monday through Friday, and 2 to 4 on the weekends.
Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday. We are open.
You're a full-fledged lunch counter.
We're there 361 of the 365 days a year.
All right, I don't want to be smart. It's a leap year, so is it 362 this year?
Probably. I guess I'll have to do the math on that.
See where it falls. But that is like phenomenal. So how many a year? If that's 10,000 in December.
Yeah. For the year, I just came up with these this morning, 119,831.
So call it 120,000 lunches. Jeffrey, that's staggering. How many people is that a day? How many guests? I'm trying to do the math here.
An average day is about 350. That's what we plan for.
So you have 350 guests for lunch every day.
But then there are days where we're serving 379, 446, 486,
What?
534.
Why the ups and downs?
Different times of the month. As we get closer and closer to the end of the month, the need goes up.
Because
a lot of the folks are running out of their benefits.
Your SNAP program and things of this
Exactly.
nature. Ooh. All right, so let's get in our little fantasy. What do you call those things? A drone. Let's go to our
Time
drone.
portal?
Let's go time portal. Let's go up in our drone.
Okay.
And now let's leave Jamestown for a second. So these 350 guests are not all from Chautauqua County, are not all over Chautauqua County. They're pretty much in your area.
They're pretty much in Jamestown.
But what about the rest of the county?
Throughout Chautauqua County, there is huge need, not just in Jamestown, but all over Chautauqua County. In fact, the Food Bank of Western New York delivers to 47 different locations throughout Chautauqua County.
47
different locations.
that do what?
Some of them are food pantries, some of them are soup kitchens. Just here a few examples. The Salvation Army, the Northside Food Pantry, the Westfield Food Pantry, the Community Kitchen in Westfield, Ripley, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, Camp Anyasa, the Dunkirk Senior Citizens Center. The list goes on and on. Virtually every town, every village.
Do we have a handle on how many people our guests or partake of these services?
Food insecurity issues in Chautauqua County is about 1 in 7, or about 20,000 people countywide.
Okay. That is staggering to me. 20,000 people. You know, I was in education for a bazillion years, and I sit on the Chautauqua Opportunities Board. And back in the 60s under Lyndon Baines Johnson, there was the big war on poverty. The war is still waging. And are we gaining? What do you think? It doesn't seem to me that we are.
Well, I can share with you that our numbers have gone up pretty dramatically.
Give us a little flavor of
Just
that.
a little taste, okay?
Or whatever you got.
Okay. Well, when the center first opened in 1984, we were serving about 30,000 meals
A year?
a year. And I told you just a second ago, we served 119,800.
4 times the need.
About 4 times the need in 31, going into 32 years.
Is there any one culprit that's causing this growth?
The economy.
economy.
I think it's all the economy.
So the economy hasn't improved for Chautauqua County.
What does that tell you? I mean, if 4 times the amount of people are taking advantage of our services.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and when I said I'm involved with this board and you're involved with your programs and so on, and I know government officials are involved on a lot of these programs and agencies, I don't think people, they're watching, they're listening right now, realize the condition that our county is in, and we're not alone. I know Cattaraugus, Allegheny are maybe the same or maybe a little bit more stressed than we are, but we have need. We have to really do a lot of outreach to our neighbors, don't we?
Absolutely, we do. You know, hunger is not just a Jamestown issue or a Chautauqua County issue. It's a nationwide issue. It's a worldwide issue, and I would.
Would you say 49 million people are
49
food
million
challenged
people,
in this country?
Yeah, and yet, you know, I haven't heard anybody talking about this on CNN that's running for president. So I think this definitely
Well,
qualifies.
the good news is
as
I'm
an
not
issue.
running for president.
Well, I'm not
I
either.
show and I can do whatever I want. Holy mackerel. All right, let's get into some of the nuts and bolts now. So you serve lunch. Why lunch and not dinner or breakfast?
Lunch was the meal that we chose a long time ago. We serve from 11 to 4 during the week, and we do so for a variety of reasons. But we have a lot of folks who are there right when we open the doors, and I have kids coming down from the high school at 3 o'clock looking for an early dinner or a late lunch.
Oh,
Because-
they're looping from lunch and then
Right.
catch the tail end of your program for dinner.
Right,
Oh, wow.
because at Jamestown Public Schools now the kids get both breakfast and lunch.
Right.
And so they come to us for an early dinner, because for a lot of them, when they get home, the cupboards are bare.
Well, or if you were just like me and my brother when we were growing up, we were like food machines. We just
Hungry all
ate-
the time.
Hungry all the time. So
Yeah.
teenagers make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit about your guests. You mentioned the high schoolers. So what's the age range? Do you have an age range? I mean, how do you?
Really, from birth to senior citizens, we
Really?
we have 4 different demographics. Up to 1-year-old, 1 to 17, 18 to 64, and then 64 and over.
So with a young baby, I mean, do you have like formula?
We have small meals
Okay.
that we can provide to them.
Okay.
So we don't do formula, but
Okay. But so there's a point where
Yep.
when they're on solid
when they can on
foods-
solid food, when they can take advantage of our meals.
Okay,
Yes.
we got a phone call right off the bat
Okay,
here. So
great.
good morning, caller.
Well, good morning.
Oh.
Good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning, Doc.
morning.
Good morning.
This is Linda Spalding.
Hi, Linda.
I'm so glad to see Jeffrey on your show because
You're welcome. I did it just for you.
oh, they do such wonderful work. We've had seniors from our program work there, and 2 of them have been hired. I don't know if they're still there. I know you have a master chef there from Texas. Is he still there?
Yes, Chef Larry.
Yes, yes. Well,
Brought all the way from Texas.
we helped out with that one a few years ago.
Well, thank you. Larry does a wonderful job.
Oh, you know, and I have to say that the people who are there, the volunteers even, and the ones that are with the senior employment program, they are so dedicated to your mission. I've never seen such dedication as at your place and Community Helping Hands. And, of course, the Chautauqua Rural Ministries kind of does something similar at the north end of the county.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I never realized the origins of how your facility started and why it was named St. Susan's.
There you go. That's why I exist.
Yeah, that is
Bring
really,
you this information.
that is a beautiful, beautiful
It's a story.
It was interesting. This summer I was speaking at a local church, and this older lady came up to me and she said, "Mr. Smith, I've read my Bible from cover to cover," she said, and there is no St. Susan in the Bible, so where did this name come from? And I told her the same story I just told you folks, and she says, "I had no idea."
So, Linda, your agency works with this agency? Is that what I'm hearing?
We work with all the nonprofit or government entities to provide workers through our senior employment program.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Senior Community Service Employment Program. It's normally known as to the Senior Aid Program.
Mm-hmm.
And we put them at various occupations. They can be in nutrition, or they can help out with Meals on Wheels, or be recreational aides at assisted living centers, etc., as long as they fit into the category. And hopefully at some point after they've been there a while, when the place has money to hire, these individuals will be picked up and put on their payroll. So that's how our program works, and it's really a great opportunity for our seniors and for our community centers also.
So, Linda, if someone wants to work at St. Susan or any other organization, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, word of mouth is the biggest way that we get people.
All right, well, we just popped up your phone number.
I know, you popped up our phone number.
Jeff Zook is a
They're-
magician back there.
They're
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you.
753-4471.
753-4471. I wanted to just mention that Jamestown did go through an economic decline when the metal manufacturing and the wood manufacturing, when those jobs were shipped out of the area overseas, many of them.
Absolutely.
And that happened to the whole country.
Yeah.
Back in 1983.
Yeah, 1983.
Jamestown Lounge, which was right at the end of Water Street, closed its doors. In fact, I remember my uncle used to work there, and he was out of a job.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
They all had great jobs, and then it all just changed. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for the wonderful work that you do.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Okay, Linda, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to
to
you.
you.
We'll talk to you
Thanks.
soon.
Enjoy the warm weather.
Right.
Yeah, before it gets really cold, huh?
I know.
All right. Jeffrey, you've been mentioning a lot of things here, and I've been taking little scribblings here. Linda mentioned that she has some of her senior aides there, so that tells me that you have people that work there. So how many people work there?
We have a small staff of 9, but we have approximately 200 volunteers that we schedule throughout the year.
Did you say 200?
200.
200?
200.
That's a lot of people. How does that all work? Do you have like a coordinator?
I have a volunteer coordinator. His name is Woody Holland. He's my
Okay.
volunteer coordinator. Week in and week out is normally about 70 or 75 that are there every week.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a small army of,
Yeah.
of people who
Well, if you're doing 120,000 meals, I would think so.
you need that. You
All
need
right.
them. We have a lot of folks that they come and they'll work, a particular event. I have some folks that have been volunteering for upwards of 20 years. In fact, just a few weeks ago, our volunteer of the year, Margaret Johnson, she part of the senior program.
Da-da-da.
Okay, and 20-year volunteer. Been there since we were across the street at St. James.
Wow, terrific. Okay, I mentioned I totally forgot some other announcements. I do that. I just like I'm not a real morning person. Here I have a morning show. It doesn't make any sense. But why don't you kick back a little bit and do my analysis, and we'll get back. You folks, you've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels. My guest this week is Jeffrey Smith. He's the Executive Director of St. Susan Center, and we're going to be getting back to him in just a few minutes. But meanwhile, back at the ranch here, I have some announcements to share with you. So this is kind of nice. I'm kind of breaking up the show a little differently. People you know, I'll bet any money, because they're associated with Gary Lynn and all his different projects down there, the Infinity Group. Infinity Visual and Performing Arts will be hosting Smack Dab, a great band, live at the Infinity Arts Cafe this coming Friday at 8 o'clock. No, this Friday, January 8th at 7 o'clock. I do that a lot. Tickets are $5 and can be purchased online or at the Infinity Center during normal hours. There's only 200 tickets available, so I would encourage you to get down there and get them. There's the guys from Smack Dab. A lot of times they volunteer at the showcase every year. I know that they're bouncing around. All right. In other information, Infinity Youth Workshop Series, ages 6 to 18, on January 9th. My buddy Addison Moon, she was on the show not too long ago, and we've shared the stage from January 9th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., ages 13 and up, $20 down at Infinity. Learn how to do songwriting with Addison Moon. January 20th, photography with 101, it's called, with John Elder, from 6 to 8 p.m. Cost is $25. January 23rd, Infinity Drum and Dance. Youth class is 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Adult class is 12 noon to 2 p.m. It's taught by Preach Freedom and Melissa Williams. Cost is $20 for youth, $25 for adults. January 30th, Kids Zone with Victoria, here we go, Mazurkowitz, takes me a minute to say these long names, and Mariah Melendi, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon. Cost is $10. Let's see. Youth classes, excluding Photography 101, are free to Track 1 membership students. Let's see here. Then some other things going on. Infinity's got a lot going on. They always give me lots of good stuff to share with you. The Infinity will also be hosting its January installment of, here we go, Pulse Poetry Slam on Thursday, January 7th. That's my brother's birthday. At 6 p.m. The event is free, family-friendly, and open to the public. Audience members and performers of all ages are welcome. Then we have a photo that we can share with you. Infinity is excited to welcome local photographer John Elder, and there's some of his work, to their team of instructors. Wow, I'm just taking a moment to look at all those. Wow, that's pretty stunning. Elder will be teaching a weekly class at Infinity Center called The Art of Photography on Fridays from 4 to 5 p.m. during January. The classes will be open to all student ages 12 to 18 and will focus on camera knowledge, composition, and taking their lens cap off, Randy. Maybe you should check that out. I'm always pestering Randy because he's taking our pictures here, and sometimes he hasn't taken his cap off yet. In addition to student classes, a workshop for lifelong learners ages 18 and up will be offered on Wednesday, January 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. For more information about classes, pricing, or registration, please call 664-0991 or stop in the Infinity Center at 301 East 2nd Street. Online registration is also available online at Infinity Performing Arts, all one word, .org/register. They really challenge my pronunciation every Saturday morning. All right, folks, we're continuing on our discussion with the Executive Director of St. Susan Center, Jeffrey Smith, and he's given me staggering statistics. I knew some of these, but I didn't know all of them. Now, there's another staggering statistic we haven't touched on. Since 1984, February 1, I think you said, I do pay attention, how many meals have you provided to Chautauqua County, total?
Total.
Wow. Hot off the press here.
Hot off the presses, I can tell you. Wow. 2,094,478. Now, when I spoke to the Rotary a few months ago, I told you that in April we served our 2 millionth meal, and that was quite a milestone for the center.
That's staggering. And it's also, it makes me very sad to think that there's that much need just in Chautauqua County alone.
Well, this is just in Jamestown. This isn't even Chautauqua County.
Well,
This is
I'm
just
compounding the whole thing in my mind because
right,
I know
so if
that
you-
there's other soup kitchens and centers doing similar kinds of work. A couple questions popped up while we were talking. A question came through was, what's the average cost of a meal? I don't know what that means. I don't know. How much does it cost to the guest?
To the guest, it's free. All of our
It's
meals
free.
are free. Yes.
All right. So do we have an average cost of what?
It costs about $2.75 to $3 a meal.
Okay, so $2 to $3 a meal.
So if we're serving 300 meals a day, it's about $1,000 a day, just in.
That's 361,000. That's a lot of money.
That's
So
pretty
where does
much
all
our-
this money?
That's pretty much our budget for the
So
year.
where does all the money come from? How do we do it?
Donations.
From whom?
Individuals, groups, fundraising events that we put on. You know, a lot of our donations come in $5 and $10 at a time. We have different events throughout the year.
Like what? What kind of events?
In fact, coming up here in January, we have our Soup and Song events. They start the fourth Saturday of January, the 23rd, I believe it is, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the center. We bring in a local musical group.
Who you got?
And, well, that's going to be announced on Monday, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're not going to tell me?
No, but I'll tell you the chef, Chef Carrie Giffords.
I know Carrie.
You know Carrie?
If you see Carrie, you tell her I said hi because I was her administrator at BOCES.
You were.
Yeah, she was in culinary arts with Dave Cackamies.
Okay. Well, I met Carrie about a month ago. She came and did our volunteer dinner, and she did a wonderful job. And as I found out, Carrie is a Mercyhurst alumni of the hotel and culinary program, like myself. And so
Well,
we were.
please tell her I said hello.
I will.
You
I
know,
will.
Chris, Bert, you're watching, I know on the monitor. You're right. I guess I do know everybody in the county. This is incredible. I haven't seen Carrie in years. She's a wonderful, wonderful person.
So she's going to be providing the soup for us, and then we're going to have a musical group
Okay.
come in.
Now, here's a little known fact that you may not know.
What's that?
I don't even remember how long ago it was. I'm going to guess 4 or 5 years ago. St. Susan Center had a super event, and it was down in Bemis Point on the floating stage. I played at that.
The summer.
I got
Song.
seasick. Now, but when you're on the floating stage, it does move a little bit.
It does move a little bit,
And at the time, I was Doc and Bill. We were playing music. Bill Ward was the host, and the funniest backstory behind all that is I didn't know this at the time. I'm standing there playing music, and behind us, some Amish guys pulled up in their boat. And they were listening to the music. And we have pictures of that somewhere where they were right behind us. I didn't even know it. They look like they fit in with me. So anyways, all right, so fundraiser, so you've got this Soup and Song.
It's a whole series. We do 3 of them, one in January, February, and March on the 4th Saturday of the month from 6 to 8 p.m. at the center. Tickets are only $10.
That's a good deal. So you get some soup and entertainment and so on. All right, what I was going to ask this question. Whoever asked this question, they sent it to me, and we're on the same wavelength. So if your guests come in, they sit down. How big is your hall? I mean, how many people do you seat at once?
We can serve about 120 in the
120?
soup kitchen at one time.
So that's a big restaurant. I know there's no such thing as a typical lunch, but what would some lunch look like, or a couple different ones? What would you get?
Well, we can talk about Larry's 4-alarm meatloaf.
Larry's
Chef
4-alarm
Larry?
meatloaf.
Yeah, I say that because last time he made it, the fire alarm went off.
Oh, I thought it was good. I thought it was because it was spicy. All right.
No.
Oh. Was this Larry's fault, or
No.
All right, we're going to protect Larry's good reputation here.
Larry's great. Larry's great. Spaghetti. It could be fish. You know, we get a lot of different food donated to us from a variety of different sources. So the menu is fluid, shall we say.
Okay, so it's sort of like what presents itself. Larry comes up with something to make from that.
Larry, I have Larry's our main cook, our main chef. Rennie Wolf is my kitchen manager. She plans the menu, and Larry executes it.
Make it so. Wow. So Can you kind of give us a visual if somebody's watching this or hearing this for the first time, they're hungry and it's okay. I mean, people are hungry.
That's right.
So when they walk into the front door, I mean, is there a sign that says come on in, or how do they get in there?
They open the door at 11 o'clock and folks come on in.
There's a sign over the door?
Yep, it's at
Okay.
St. Susan Center.
Okay.
People come in, they walk up, it's cafeteria style. You come in.
Oh, cafeteria style, so it's not sit down, okay.
And our guests will, our servers, our volunteers will serve them whatever we're serving that day. It could be meatloaf and potatoes, salad, bread, corn, dessert and beverages.
All that for lunch?
All that.
That's great.
Okay, and I can tell you pretty much where all of that food product comes from. I can tell you that, you know, the bread and the desserts maybe comes from Tops that day.
Okay.
And the salad and the vegetables comes from Maple Vale, and maybe the meat came from Walmart or Wegmans, and so on. So there's I can look at just about every meal and say, yep, I
You
know
can
where
tag
this,
it.
yeah.
Wow. How hard is it to keep this thing going?
It is not without its challenges, believe me.
I would think so. I mean, it would seem to me like every week you must be planning for where am I going to get the food the next week, or how do you do that? Week at a time, month at a
Well,
time,
we-
day at a time?
You know, we're blessed. We have a very generous community that has supported the center for the last 31 years. And, you know, and especially through the holidays, I have to tell you that it seems like every hour on the hour, there's somebody at the doorbell knocking or ringing the doorbell saying, here, I want to donate this food, money, their time. We just, as I said, we have a wonderful community. That just,
You know, I was going to mention earlier, you've been in the paper more than I've ever been, and I've been in the paper a lot. Every time I pick up the paper, there's Jeffrey Smith. There's your picture. You're taking a check, someone giving you frozen turkeys or whatever it was. Somebody's doing you a really good favor, giving you a lot of public relations on that. That's great.
well, we appreciate everything that the local media does for us.
All right, now I have a question for you.
Sure.
All right, so you said people knock at the door to have food. What can't you accept?
Okay. I can't accept food from your kitchen, Doc. So, if, for example, let's say
So if I cook lasagna, I can't bring you a cooked
you can't
lasagna.
bring me one. No.
Health rules, I would think.
Right. Okay. I can accept food from local caterers, restaurants,
Certified,
health inspected kitchens.
HACCP, and all that stuff, right? Okay.
Okay. I could accept vegetables from your garden, however.
Oh, because they're not cooked yet.
That's right.
Okay. What about frozen foods? I mean, can people bring frozen turkeys and things like
Yep. I have a lot of folks who will go to the store, buy a turkey, and drop it off to the center. Absolutely.
that? So for those of us that have had 5 turkeys in their freezer and it's time to let's rotate some of them up because somebody bought them and they were at a good price, you'd be happy to accept
Sure.
those.
Absolutely.
Okay. How about canned products? Canned
Absolutely.
food?
Just
Perishables, things like
Just
that?
a week and a half ago, our friend Keith Martin from JCC did a drive down in Brooklyn Square. He calls it the Holiday Haul. He had the Jamestown mattress truck in Brooklyn Square at the Jock Shop, and people from the community came down and made food and monetary donations. Not only did Keith and his crew fill the truck, he collected over $12,000 for the center as well.
Wow, that's spectacular.
So that's just testament to the
there's some
generosity.
pictures. Who we got here? Who's that?
A couple of our volunteers from last year, from Christmas.
Okay. And it looks like, what are we doing? Serving the meals?
They
there?
are clearing the tables.
Okay. So, getting back to if I was a guest for the first time, so I walk in there, do I have to register? Or
Nope.
No
Nope.
name tags or
No
nothing
name
like that?
tags, no forms, no how much money do you make, none of that. You just come in the door.
Okay. Because
Get
at the
in
food
line and-
pantries, you have to register
Yes.
and there's some rules. So, walk in, I'm hungry, feed you, no questions asked.
Well, that's our mission.
Okay.
Our mission is, in response to the gospel, we freely offer food, fellowship, dignity, and respect to all who come through our doors.
So, you get more than just lunch. Do you have counselors on staff?
We don't have counselors. We do, however, have a lot of folks who come in from various social service agencies throughout the county. I have people from the SNAP program. I have people from Veterans Affairs come in. I have people from seniors groups come in. Because a lot of my folks that come to the center walk and they can't get to these locations. So I try to bring them in on a weekly or monthly basis to help them avail themselves of the services
Oh, so you
provided.
have programs. You know, almost everybody you've mentioned so far have been on the show. Jerry Chilcott
Sure.
and all those guys. So, you know, so it sounds like we're all connecting here from my little world here to your little world
We
over
are,
there. That's really cool. You know, and after a while, it's almost all the same people working together. I noticed that BOCES is involved. How are they involved?
BOCES, we're working with them right now. We're developing a line of soups, believe it or not. We're calling it Soups for St. Susan.
Say that fast 10 times.
And we're working with a local chef at BOCES and some of his students, and they're helping us to develop a recipe that we would like to market and actually sell.
Perfect.
And use as an ongoing fundraiser to help the center.
How about St. Susan's special spaghetti sauce? You can say that 10 times fast. I
There
just
you
made
go.
that up right then and there. Okay, you said you have a room for 120 people for lunch. You're open from 11 to 4. What about the facility before lunch and after lunch? Do you use that for anything?
It is available if you have an event.
See how I just segued right into
Look
that
at
little commercial?
If you wanted to have a holiday party, we've hosted weddings. I had the graduation for BOCES just a couple of months ago. We
That's the
hosted
Hugh
it there.
Center?
From the Hugh Center.
Okay.
The students came down and they had the graduation right there at.
This is a big place then.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have our annual Volunteer of the Year dinner there. We've had weddings.
I saw on your website the Zonta Club and a few others hold
lot of
their
different groups,
annual
yeah.
events there.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. How would they contact you if they were interested? Because I got to tell you, when my daughter got married, it was like, where are we going to do that? Well, it ended up in my backyard. But I mean, it was sort of like we were considering different places. So who do they contact?
They can contact myself, 664-2253. I can also visit our website, stsusancenter.org.
Okay, we have that. There it is.
There we go.
Magic. Look at that. Okay, folks, it's St. Susan Center, all one word. So it's St. Susan, no period. We made that a point.
There you go.
.org or
.org.
Call 664-2253 for more information. So you're more than just provider of lunches. You're quite a large service to people.
We are. In the summertime, we have something we started this past year is the summer reading program. We brought in people from the community. We brought in a banker, we brought in a truck driver, we brought in a nurse, and each week the kids heard stories about those particular fields, and they got to meet somebody from that field. So we kind of brought the stories to life for these children, and
So what
they loved
age
it.
group would that be for?
Like 5 to 10.
5, 10-year-olds.
Yeah, 5 to 12. The highlight was definitely the cowboy who came with the horse. Okay, that was by far I think the best week. This one little boy that came to the reading program. He says, Jeff, I've never seen a horse before.
What?
He says, we live in the city. I've never been to the country.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Out of my way,
just-
they're up the street, up the road. Yeah, it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, doesn't it?
So the cowboy helped him up on the horse, and you should have just seen
Oh
this
my, he
little
probably
boy
just
smile.
beaming.
He was just beaming from ear to ear. So
you really have a pretty complicated job,
we're more than just a meal.
I guess.
We also teach job skills at the
How do
center.
you do that?
Well, we have folks that come in, and we put them to work in the kitchen, and Chef Larry will teach them.
Be happy to help you.
We're happy to help them and teach them about cooking and sanitation and food temperatures and kind of everything you need to know about working in a kitchen. And we've had several success stories where folks have come to us, learned some of those skills, and gone out and gotten jobs in the area.
Very good.
So
Wow.
we're very proud of those folks.
All right. We've talked about children. We've talked about people that maybe could get employment. We talked about senior aides, but let's talk about elderly folks that they don't want to work. They're done. They've done their time. What are we doing for the senior citizens? Anything for them?
Well, certainly there's a lot of folks who I think come to the center. Perhaps they've lost a spouse or alone. And I think a lot of them come for companionship. And a lot of them also, on the other side of the coin, a lot of them come to volunteer. I have a lot of seniors. I would say that I have a lot of, well, let's call them more grandmotherly types.
They're nurturers.
Nurturers.
Let me cook
right,
for you.
Right.
Come on in. Manja, manja.
Manja, right. Just like my grandmother would say. And they're wonderful. They do a great job. They come day in and day out, and their only goal is to make somebody else's day better.
Wow, that's terrific. So this is like a two-way thing, right? The volunteers get something out of it, the guests get something out of it, and it's all good. What do you need in volunteers? Like, are you looking for certain types of folks to do things for you?
We're always looking for volunteers.
To do what? Besides help Larry, the chef.
Help Larry in the kitchen. You know, our volunteers do a variety of different things. We have folks who, they start at 9 o'clock, they come in and they help prep the meal. At 11 o'clock we open the doors, and then they go from prepping to serving. Some of the other volunteers will be out in the dining room clearing the tables, wiping the chairs, bussing the tables, and so forth. I have a couple of folks that are retired teachers that are out in our St. Susan's van picking up the food from the Tops and the Wegmans and the Walmarts and the Sam's.
Oh, okay, I see where you're going with that. So so the food isn't delivered. You got to go get it.
We got to go get it.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Jeez.
So we have other volunteers that come and help at our events. For example, the basket fair, which we host at JCC in the gymnasium.
Okay.
That's quite an undertaking. So we need a lot of volunteers for that.
So do you have a board of directors for all this?
We have a board of directors.
Okay. How many people are on your board?
13.
You have a 13-member board.
Chuck Holder is our board president.
He's the undersheriff.
Chuck is the undersheriff of Chautauqua.
You don't mess with him.
No, Chuck's a great guy.
Yeah, I know Chuck. He's a good guy.
I've known Chuck since high school.
All right. So he's your president?
He's our board president.
Very nice. Very good. And 12 others. Wow. Okay. One of the questions that still is begging to be asked, I live in Ripley. Obviously, people from Ripley aren't just going to come popping into your place, but if somebody was in Ripley and they happen to be visiting friends or relatives in Jamestown area, they could come in?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, how tall, big, little, money, no money, whatever.
We welcome all who come through our doors. We turn nobody away.
Oh my gosh.
Should that be the way it is?
You would think so, but sometimes people have these little rules, or government has its rules.
Well, we're not government.
Good thing.
We are, as I said, we're a Christian organization, and you can probably guess out of which Bible verse our mission statement came from.
Jeffrey Smith is the executive director of St. Susan Center, and we have 1 minute left. So look at the camera, look at me, whatever you want. Tell the folks what you want them to know in the next 35 seconds here.
Well, St. Susan Center is a wonderful place, and I tell you, I'm humbled to be the director. When they chose me, there's a feeling that came over me. I've worked in a lot of different places in my life, but I have to tell you, this has been by far.
There's a connection.
There was an instant connection, and I love it, and I don't ever want to leave. So I thank them, and everybody who, if you haven't been to the center, I encourage you to come down to St. Susan Center. You'll get more than just a meal.
Jeffrey Smith, thank you for coming in, the Executive Director of St. Susan Center in Jamestown on Water Street. Folks, if you know anybody that wants to be a guest there, check them out. I'm Doc Hamels. You've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. We're going to do it all again next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here in downtown Mayville, New York. You take care and get those snow shovels out and get some exercise. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.